What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk about Marvel every single day. Marvel Studios has just officially released a teaser for their teaser of the Fantastic Four. We've noticed that studios have been doing this more recently. They are teasing their teasers, but really what it is just an official confirmation of when their teaser trailers are coming. Last week and over the weekend, we have heard a lot of reports that the trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps was going to be coming on February 4th. Because February, which obviously has the first letter of F, would be F4, Fantastic Four. Clever. And while we did hear that it might premiere during the Super Bowl, Good Morning America kind of let it leak last week by putting it on their upcoming slate that they post for each week that lists what they're going to be talking about, and the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer was listed on there. They removed it shortly after everybody found out about it, but now Marvel Studios has confirmed the trailer is coming tomorrow. So let's talk about what we see here in this teaser of a teaser, and talk about what we know about the movie and what you should look out for tomorrow when the teaser trailer officially drops. Now, the first thing that you might have noticed about this footage that they showed us is that it doesn't take place in the 2000s. We can very much tell that this is set in the past. A taxi drives by and it definitely is an older model taxi. Some children run by and you can see a gumball machine on the side of the street there. Something that you don't really see too often anymore. You still see them sometimes like at arcades or something like that, some restaurants, but not on the side of the street. They're always inside. The children continue to run through the streets of New York City and we get a shot at some more cars, and you can definitely tell that this is taking place in the past. Plus, not to mention, they all run up to watch TVs that are on display in a window. And that used to be very common in the past as well. Based on what we know about the Fantastic Four movie, it is going to take place in the 60s. And you can obviously tell that during this period, this is a very big moment. A lot of people are gathered outside of the store to watch the TVs so they can witness some type of historic event of a group that is going into space. But in this universe, because this is going to be a different universe than the main 616 universe that the Avengers are in. So different universes, and in this universe, the Fantastic Four are a famous superhero team. And we'll dive into that in a little bit, but first let's look at the 5 screens that are shown here in this scene. The one in the middle says prepare for, and it's the Fantastic Four logo, launch. So a great play on the Fantastic Four's name there. So obviously that tells us that the Fantastic Four are about to launch into space. And if you go to the top right television, you can actually see who appears to be Johnny Storm putting on his helmet. He hits it to make sure it's locked in and very tight. Obviously you want that when you're going into space. And then it switches very briefly, but you can see the entire Fantastic Four team when it switches. And you'll probably notice that a lot of people are there taking pictures of them. Again, that's because the Fantastic Four team are a pretty famous group as scientists, but also as superheroes. However, I do think that this takes place before they turn into the Fantastic Four, because in this image, we cannot see Ben Grimm as the Thing. He is still perfectly normal Ben Grimm because he can fit into a regular astronaut suit. So this is most likely going to be the origin. But there might be a little bit of a twist to this, and I'll explain. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, said that this is not going to be a typical origin story. And we actually know that this movie is going to jump around in time a little bit. We know this because we have seen set photos of Vanessa Kirby, who is playing Sue Storm, with a child, her son from the comics, Franklin Richards, one of the most powerful Marvel characters to ever exist. We also know that they are going to be famous superheroes at some point in time, so clearly there is some time jumping going on here. In the beginning, they're probably famous because they are the group of scientists that go into space, possibly first, the first people to go into space. Either way, in the beginning, they're going into space and they are getting a lot of publicity and news coverage because it's obviously a big deal. This is where they'll go into space and most likely get their powers, getting exposed to cosmic rays in space. Then from here, we're probably going to see another time jump to where they're superheroes actually fighting crime. And we've heard that this is kind of how they become ultra famous, because the Fantastic Four do not hide who they are. Everybody knows about them, everybody knows their powers, and everybody knows that they're superheroes. And everybody knows that they're in the Baxter Building. They're quite famous. And then we're going to have another time jump to where Sue and Reed have their firstborn child, Franklin Richards. So like I said, lots of time jumps that are going to happen happen in the movie. But here is where we could be getting a little bit of a twist with this footage that they're going to show us. There had been a lot of speculation and a lot of reports going around that the Fantastic Four will take place in the past, in the 60s, but in a different universe. This is all but confirmed now. It was actually pretty much confirmed when Marvel Studios decided to release some posters for the Fantastic Four, and the city skyline in the background of New York City looked very different than the New York City that we have now in the MCU. And Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige came out and said, "Oh yeah, fans caught that, did they? It doesn't look like the normal New York City." Basically confirming at that time it does take place in the past and is in a different universe. And there's actually proof of that in one of these TV images. If you take a look at the top left television, they give it away that this is indeed a different universe. It is set in the past, most likely in the 60s, but it's actually more advanced than our universe now in a way. And if you take a look in that top left television, you can actually see the spaceship that they're going to be launching in, and it looks extremely futuristic, confirming that even though they are in the past, they are actually very advanced technologically. And the reason for this is, based on what we have heard, is that this particular universe never went through the Dark Ages. So this universe didn't have the Dark Ages to set them back essentially 1,000 years. So since they didn't have that period in time, they are much more advanced in their point in time in the 60s than our main MCU was in the 60s. So basically all of those reports that we have heard have been confirmed just by this little teaser right here. Now in the bottom left TV, you can see a car driving, and this car does appear to have wheels on the ground, but I do believe that this could be the Fantastic Four's car that can actually drive through the air. It can probably drive on the streets, but then lift the tires up and then float through the air. And they did show this car at San Diego Comic-Con actually flying through the audience. It was really cool. And if you take a look here at the footage from SDCC of the flying car, it does pretty much look like this one that we're seeing here. So that is also another indicator that they are really just living in an advanced universe here. Now, as far as the bottom right TV is concerned, it's really hard to make out. A lot of the people's heads are covering it, but what it looks to be is simply the launch site of where the ship is going to take off of. It's the launch tower. So basically here in the middle TV, we have prepare for launch, and the top right TV, we see the Fantastic Four literally preparing for launch. On the bottom left TV, we actually have what probably is footage of them driving to the facility. Then on the bottom right TV, we have a video of the actual facility of them waiting to see the rocket launch. And then on the top left screen, we have the rocket actually launching into space, which will probably give us somewhat of an origin for the Fantastic Four. I know Kevin Feige said it's not going to be a typical origin, but he did not say that they're going to skip it altogether. So they're still going to show us them going into space and getting affected by the cosmic rays. And they might even give us a little hint or a little tease of Galactus and the Silver Surfer tomorrow. Galactus and the Silver Surfer are confirmed to be in the film. Galactus will be the villain of the Fantastic Four movie. They did show him very briefly at San Diego Comic-Con, so maybe they might show him in this trailer tomorrow. Fingers crossed we get a look at Galactus, but otherwise, the teaser for the Fantastic Four is officially coming tomorrow. It's at 7 a.m. Eastern, so very, very early. So set your alarm clocks and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because, of course, we'll be doing a breakdown for the Fantastic Four teaser trailer tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. Be sure to set your alarms. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.